Welcome to episode 11 of the Big Bad Bruins Bantah Podcast. I'm your host, Papa Bruin, aka Joe Gill. And I took about a month hiatus, unfortunately, because, things are going on in life, vaccinations, all kinds of crazy stuff. But coming to you now that the Bruins have clinched a playoff spot with their 3-0 shutout of the New Jersey Devils. It looks like they finally solved that enigma that is the New Jersey Devils. So Don Sweeney did it. He pulled it off with that trade deadline because everything's clicking on high cylinders. So, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Billy Jaffe of NESN and also of the Morning Brew podcast that he does with Andrew Raycroft. I have a lot of respect for Billy. He's probably one of the great hockey minds, in my opinion, along with Brick and Beersy in the city of Boston. So I just want to welcome Billy Jaffe to the show. How you doing, Billy?
Joe, I'm great. How are you? Apologize for being late a couple of minutes and not running around.
No worries. You let me know. That's all that matters. So, no, I appreciate you coming on. Again, it's we're coming on a very good moment here with the Bruins because they just clinched. So what was your take on the game last night and how they, finally got into the postseason?
Well, the game last night was a lesson in how to put away an opponent by starting with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand and Pasternak. Their line set the tone or set the table, and the rest of them just followed suit. They're playing a depleted and young New Jersey team that had given them fits.
Oh, yeah.
Has given them fits this year. And look, they did it the right way. They came out, and while they didn't score for, what was it? I mean, they outshot them 17-4 in the first. I think it was about 9-minute mark in the second, if I remember correctly.
Right.
I don't want to say I ever felt the game was in doubt. I felt like the only thing that concerned me is that Wedgwood was looking good again. I'm like, holy smokes, where,
he had the brazen.
Is this another devil goalie? Yeah, so that was it. Yeah. But otherwise, once Richie scored the goal and they didn't stop, the next shift was great. That was like, okay, we're good. All right, let's get going. So now, I'm greedy. I want them to win every game. But, I'd love to see them win again on Tuesday to put the pressure on the two teams right in front of them. I'm not saying I know there are three teams, but I'm saying right in front of them, between the Isles and Pitt. And even if those other team win on Tuesday night, so what? You've won again, put the pressure on them, then let everybody sit for 2 days and marinate in their fear that the Bruins are going to take them over. Right.
No, absolutely. Now that they kind of actually hopped over the Islanders with the Islanders' loss last night. So going into the postseason, ask you a question now. Now with that Vancouver has to make up all these games. So I don't think the postseason starts until the 19th. Am I right on that?
No. We're hearing that we could start the 15th or 16th. I don't like calendar in front of me. I suck with dates and numbers. So
it's okay.
Forgive me. Whatever that Saturday is, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
We're hearing that. Am I telling you that? No, meaning like, I don't know for certain, but sure. We're hearing rumblings that for television purposes, could start that early.
Yeah, it makes sense. Why would you hold up the whole league? Because, Vancouver's got to catch up with those games. So that makes complete sense. And thanks for that info. So we're going to get into some questions now, Billy. We call this kind of the Ask Papa Bruin. That's kind of my persona, I guess, I developed with my community, which is pretty cool. I asked them a bunch of questions, if they could give us some questions. So some great questions came through, and I think we'll just do it in rapid fire, if that's okay with you. I share in this question as well. So Pasternak, we know, is not the Paster of old, if you will, of a couple of years ago, before the injury. What is going on with he's just making a lot of mental miscues. Like one of them that is glaring to me is that if you remember that 6-4 loss to Buffalo, the Bruins were storming back and they were going into the zone in the last minute or so after they pulled the goalie. And he just did this blind drop pass, and then Buffalo picked it up, scored it, and the game's over. So we know he's not a defensive stalwart, but he has definitely played better defensively than he has now. So what's your take on that? Can he clean that up before the playoffs?
Well, there's multi-layers to that question. I don't know. I don't want to take up the whole half hour. Sure. First of all, you said he's not the same player before the injury. He was phenomenal early part of this year. So let's not forget
You're right. That's right.
So he's not the same player that he was. At least it's not finishing. He's not finishing like he was early part of the year.
Correct.
which, by the way, he was finishing so damn much, he probably glossed over some of his little burks and, giveaways here and there. There's a two-part answer. One, he's a creative freelancer that has the utmost confidence in himself, which means that he'll make plays oftentimes that others won't even try. And some of those aren't going to succeed. It's the creative genius, put it that way.
Right.
He probably can't even explain why he tries to do some certain things, and he just does them. I'm telling you, having spoken to guys like him and others, Jaromir Jagr could never tell you what he was thinking on a breakaway.
True.
And that's why he hated shootouts, because he had to think there. He had time to think. So it's a whole different thing. Now, I'm not trying to disparage your question, Joe.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But what I'm saying is, I don't disagree that there have been some issues. Now, we discussed, Razor and I and Barry and I, and on shows and stuff, that at times he didn't look like he had the same jump, the same tenacity, the same work ethic as Bergeron and Marchand. And that to me was more concerning than anything else. That to me was the big thing. I can live with his mistakes. And you ask, can they clean those up for the playoffs? Sure. Holy smokes. Would it surprise you? And your buddy, your friends and listeners, that if he went out and put up, 8 goals in the last 4 games just for fun, and in the playoffs, he gets on a streak. I mean, and all of a sudden those one-timers are going in. No, but he's got to earn it. And so long way of saying, to me, he's starting to re-earn these opportunities. He's getting his butt in on the forecheck real hard. He's back checking hard again. I know which play vividly you're talking about in that Buffalo game. And that was he was thinking ahead. I'm going to go right back to the point. I think it was Krejci that was back there. I'm going to go right back to him, and boom, delivered a pizza, as I like to call it, right there. Right. So, it's frustrating, especially when the other stuff isn't happening. But it's like Charlie Coyle. When he started doing when he kept doing the other stuff, moving the wing, working his ass off, doing this or that, what did we say? He's got to score because he's doing the right thing, and the hockey gods reward him. Let's see Pasta do that. And then I think he's close. I do. I think he's close to that.
Yeah, you must have read my mind, because Charlie Coyle is going to ask you a question about him after that great 1-on-2 goal he scored the other night. That was amazing. To your point, I think he's better where he is right now, where he's positioned right now. I think that third line's finally jump starting. Do you see that as well, that he's turning the corner and getting back on track himself?
I think he is. I hope, obviously. I think he is. Yet I say this with no disrespect to Buffalo and New Jersey. We're seeing it against teams that are a little less strong. Sure. That proper English. They're not as strong.
That's so good.
But he's doing things the right way. Battles off the wall, more to the middle of the ice, holding off defenders. Still want to see him shoot more constantly. He made a play, tried to hit Corrali in the game on Monday night against the Devils. I think it was the first period, where he had it in the inner arc to the right circle, and he tried to slide it over to Corrali, who was in the right spot. A little coverage on him, though. And it went under the pad, I think, of Wedgwood, and under a defender past Corrali. You know what? Holy smokes, fire it from there. And even if I just want to see that demonstrative decision of fire. If it gets blocked, it gets blocked. If it connects, it's glorious. It's amazing. It's right. But if it doesn't, then you're like, I want to see him rifle that. Now, absolutely phenomenal goal. Very reminiscent of the goal that he scored against the Rangers like 2.5 months ago when he had 2 goals in a game. Those were his previous 2 goals. That's what you call a power forward move there, and a powerful finish. I know Charlie said after the game in an interview that it wasn't really bothering the team doing the team winning. I'm sorry. Everybody likes their cookies. Everybody likes their apples, but especially their cookies, because cookies taste better. A good apple's good, but you can eat more cookies than anything. So, I'm thrilled that he scored. Now, the other part of your question, I'm more of the school thought that he's got to be your third line center for a longer playoff run. And I fully admit, Joe, I don't know who then plays the right side on that line.
Yeah, that's like that's the problem they had in the second line forever until they landed Hall.
Right.
They
I mean, it's Andre Kasha. It's Andre Kasha if he's healthy.
What's going on with
exactly.
him?
Okay.
Where's he been?
He's healthy. Right.
But no, thanks again. That's a great answer on that. So, I mean, the thing about them overpassing is it almost seems like to your point, they overthink things and they get too pretty, like on the power play has been scoring. Because again, I don't know how many times it's a fan and a lot of fans, probably yourself, it's like shoot. And that's the thing, because they've missed so many, I think, open shots, as you mentioned, because I just think they have so many good players that, especially the first line around them, that first power play unit.
I don't think they miss open shots. I think they were missing shots to get pucks through.
Okay.
There aren't many clear open shots. If they are, they're from distance in the NHL. The coverage is so good that, there's shots from distance that are quote unquote open, but oftentimes the goalie can snap it or block it, right?
Right.
They've missed opportunities, and we get to the whole Mike Riley acquisition and the impact he's had. What they missed were the opportunities to take pucks off wall, pucks from the point, punch them through, the ability to get them through, which is an art form. The thing of it is, we don't realize how much of an art form that is until you see somebody that can really do it.
Right.
And so, because they were getting blocked so many times. But it's the mentality. I don't disagree with you at all, but that the mentality of rifle, lock and load, as I like to say, get it gone net, do it the right way, and then have bodies there. I know it sounds easy from where I sit or from where we all sit, but that's the mentality that we want them to have. There's no question about it.
Because I think, myself, growing up in the 80s and 90s with the Cam Neely Bruins, Ray Bork Bruins, you have that big guy in front of the net causing havoc and, get the pucks through, right? So I guess that's the game has changed quite a bit, as we all know since then, right? So MVP conversation. This is from Mitch Cohen. Should Brad Marchand be in that conversation?
For the league, I'm assuming he's asked for the Hart.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But he won't win it. I mean, it's Connor McDavid's. It's okay to admit that it's somebody else's. Should Brad be in the conversation? Absolutely. For a while, in my opinion, Charlie McAvoy was the MVP of this team.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I agree.
And then in the last month, I guess we're going on 5 weeks, Brad Marchand has taken it to the nth degree, and he's otherworldly. Charlie's still been great. Over the course of the season, you can make the argument over the entire course of the season, Charlie has been the most consistent top player.
Mm-hmm.
But Brad is all everything right now. Marshy could absolutely be and should be in the conversation, but conversation means, votes, it's
the shiny
is
top.
he a second place, third place? Yeah. I mean, sure, you can make that argument, but it's Connor McDavid's.
Yeah. People like to go with the shiny Ferrari than sometimes like that. But I remember when
he's going to get 100 points. I mean, if he gets 100 points,
that's
insane. I mean, I don't care. I don't give a crap who you're playing.
Right.
I mean, it's really awesome. Now, mind you, I still don't know how good the Edmonton Oilers really are.
That division, yeah.
Right. But I can't dismiss what Connor, everything has done,
Well, plus having Draisaitl doesn't hurt. he's amazing as well. So again, so after the four divisions have, the winners of the four divisions after the playoffs have been, earned, if you will, then they reseed, correct? So it goes to 1 to 4. So in essence, the Bruins could be playing a West Coast team, right? In that round after the divisional, which is kind of crazy to me, especially with still trying to cut down on travel and all that, because we're not out of this COVID woods yet. We're getting there, but there could be a chance we could play the Maple Leafs. Who knows? So a lot of people are asking,
right?
Would you like to see a Leafs Bruins Cup final? And could the Bruins take down the Leafs?
Sure. I'm pulling up my league standings here. Again, me and numbers don't really go well together. My memory. I know the Bruins have 68 points. I'm looking for the other teams. So let's just say, the Bruins could finish, even if they win their division.
Right.
There's a chance that they finish, behind. So Well, I guess they could end up being the 4 seed if they were to get out of the East, right? I mean, in theory, I mean, we got 5 games to go. Means a big difference. But would I like to see a Leafs Bruins? Holy smokes, who wouldn't? I mean,
I know, right? Original 6, absolutely.
I don't give a crap who's in the cup. If the Bruins are in it, I'll play anybody.
Oh, right. No, I completely agree with you.
I'll go to Mystery Alaska and watch them play,
That's a great movie.
Rangers over there. I don't give a but sure, I'd love to see a Leafs Bruins final. I don't think it would be close. And in the
Bruins' favor.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, that's a matchup that favors the Bruins. Now, Matthews and Marner will be a tough out, but we're playing the if everybody's healthy game.
Right.
If all your top 6D and at least top 10 or 11 of your forwards are healthy, to play.
Right.
All things being equal, I don't know if I think it's, when I say a 6-game series, I don't, I think it's a Bruin convincing in 6. Who's going to be your goalie for the Leafs?
Right. That was going to ask you. Right. Who?
David Riddick?
That's been a problem forever.
Freddie Anderson? I mean,
Who knows?
You can catch lightning in a bottle but I don't see over a 7-game series those 3 goalies matching up against the Bruins when all's said and done. It should be fun. It would be fun.
Right.
I'd be curious, by the way, if Toronto, if Canadian teams are in Toronto or in Canada or
over here,
in Buffalo or something,
Right.
I'm going to be curious. That's got a long ways to play out. They have to have contingency plan. They have to right now.
I really think they're going to end up here playing the States. They have to, because the vaccine rollouts, as we know in Canada, are not as up to speed with United States.
But it's
right
it's much better now, believe it or not. And
okay.
They're going to roll out, in theory, God, I hope so for their sake. I think in the next 30 to 45 days, they're going to end up rolling out, I think, big time numbers. Like, I think once they got the AstraZeneca, not that we need to get into this conversation.
Right.
But I do think they're going to get heavy. And if all the players are vaccinated by then, and all the organizations, does that allow them to reconsider? It comes down to the border. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. So a lot of things that shake out for sure. So we just talked about a hypothetical final, but who do you think as of today would be your Pixelmaker?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
I mean,
it's hard to judge or barometer because they only playing 5 or 6 or 7 same teams all season long. They're not,
Right. I mean, to me, the 2 best teams are Vegas and Colorado, and they're for depth and speed and star power. Like, Vegas has got 2 really good goalies. I'm curious about Colorado's goaltending. Grubauer, I think he's very good. I know he's very good. Can he stay healthy? And is he going to be all right? Even they got Dubnyk. I'm not sure about that. I'm a big fan of Rod Brindamore's in Carolina.
That is an amazing story there.
I'm a big fan of his. And I know that they're on top of a division that's got Tampa in 3rd and Florida in 2nd. But, I look at that come playoff time, and have they done enough of those playoff runs where they win a round or 2? They get spanked by the Bees twice, but we've learned from it. We've grown from it. Our depth is better. I just don't know. I've watched them a couple of, I watch them a fair amount. I haven't watched much lately, but I watch them. And they got work ethic like their coach. They have believability. I mean, they're getting good goaltending from Nedeljkovic and even Reimer's been good this year. Yeah, and Mrazek. But I just wonder, again, when you put, if with Krejci's line going like it is. Beautiful. Like, it's a tough matchup. Now, I know you're not asking me who did the Bruins matchup. I'm just saying I'd almost like to root for Carolina to make it out of the Central. I would. I mean, be good. I mean, Tampa, till somebody beats them, I still believe in them too. But I do think when I watch other games, the teams that catch my eye are Vegas and Colorado. Now, one of those teams is going to lose.
Yeah.
So
right. No, those are 2 juggernauts for sure. And I remember when the Bruins played Colorado last year, it seems like they were just playing 2 different games because Colorado's so damn quick. That talent is just It seems like another level sometimes. But so Taylor Hall, I mean, I can't say enough about him. I was kind of skeptical on getting him after all the rumors about the locker room situations he's been in. And so I heard the interview with George LaRocque before, talking about in Edmonton, and even Andrew Ferentz too, talking about when he came up to Edmonton with Shirley, brought him up there, about kind of the party attitude and all that. So I was worried about Hall coming here, but man, I was dead wrong. Wow. I think that leadership, because he hasn't really had leaders like a Krejci or a Bergeron or Marchand. I think that's helped him. I mean, do you feel the same way, that he's just seamlessly, I mean, he's been the biggest acquisition in the NFL trade deadline, let's be honest.
Yes.
And he's anchored that second line. So, I mean, do you think that he's going to be here, post July, or, or we see him here in Boston in his future?
I mean, he's been a real remarkable addition. I would think that he will try, and they will try to keep him here. They've got an awful lot of contracts to deal with. They will have conversations with him. The big question, I think we all wonder, is it a must return of David Krejci to, keep him here?
Right.
Listen, think about where he's been and where he is now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what George LaRocque said about him. I talked to one person who knew him pretty well in Edmonton, who I respect a lot. And he talked about how, nothing bad about him, but how, if he's happy, he's in the right frame of mind, he can dominate.
Sure.
And, he's very hard on himself. He can be hard on others in the room, but it wasn't saying he's a bad guy. It's, I think, the expectations and the demands of the fishbowl of Edmonton, I'm going to guess, got to him and others that were there. Then we know that they did, Right. I mean, 5 number 1 picks overall in a row.
God. Crazy.
And how good they were supposed to be and how bad they were. So if you think about where he was, which, he goes to New Jersey, they had some good vets, but what that almost makes his MVP year more remarkable when you consider that he was playing with, good centers, not elite centers, and how he was able to drive play from the wing. And then Buffalo, enough said. I know Arizona, but whatever. But now he's got, this is like I don't know. I mean, it's a whole new world, I mean, it's just, it's got to open his eyes and say, holy smokes, what a cathartic experience.
Grass is greener. Yeah.
Well, this grass is greener compared to where he was.
Oh yeah.
And legitimately. And now he sees this. So we all know it's going to come down to a contract. I will never look into another person's wallet or pocket, but we know he's made a lot of money. He's going to have to take a little less, or does he want to go short term? Yeah, but my guess is he does. Maybe, I think he'd be willing to do a 3-year. That's just me spitballing. But again, is it predicated on Krejci coming back? Can they work that out? But your big contracts are, I guess, Tuukka is still, to me, the biggest one.
Yes.
I think you need to have him back.
Absolutely.
I do. And then you've got Hall, Krejci, or Krejci Hall right there. And, Carlos are restricted. You'll work that out, I think. But so, yeah, I mean, he's been great. I don't know what guys like George said. The person that I spoke with that knows him well had good stuff to say. Good. It's just that, he can be very hard on himself too. And I think some of that came out in a way of maybe he was more controlling or whatever. And you know what? Right now, we don't get to be in the locker room right now. So that'd be great to see her. But I tell you this, Joe, he's very cerebral in his answers to the media, very thoughtful. He provokes good answer or good reply questions and stuff. Right. He thinks about his answers. So right now, I think that this is like a mature situation for him, and he doesn't have to worry about everything else except playing. That's it. Right.
And he, again, one of his first interviews he said all the right things, right? So that's all you want of a guy that's buying in. He's absolutely buying in. So that's great. So I know you only have a few more minutes, so I just want to kind of Now it's the 10th anniversary of the last Cup win, which we know. I try to forget 19. That was a very that's a tough moment to swallow. But do you see any similarities between this team and the 11 team at all? Or are we talking different?
Different because, I mean, you want to talk about a whole different style of hockey that we're seeing. And remember how much the game changed after the 04 lockout.
Right.
And then, okay, and now, but we still had a lot of that, I'm going to beat the snot out of you mentality, especially with that team in 11.
Yeah.
So I do think it's different. You have a very frenetic goalie in Timmy Thomas and a very controlled goalie in Tuukka Rask.
Mm-hmm.
I like the depth more with Riley of the Bruins defense and obviously a healthy Brandon Carlo. But, you know, that defense again, I mean, between Chara, Boychuk, Seidenberg, McQuaid, that was,
right.
I'm gonna hammer time you when I can there, right? I mean, that was
well, Chara and Seidenberg were like shut down corners of football.
Right.
They were unbelievable.
Right. And so, if people are asking, can you see so stylistically very different. If they're saying, can you see similarities in the depth of the team? I'm not there yet because we're still questioning the third line. And that third line in 11 was spectacular. And then the fourth line was equally, if not, it was more identifiable than anything. Like that identified the team, right? The Merlot line. And while I'm very happy with what Curtis Lazar's brought, the fourth line, right, to me is much better. I think we'll see, again, everybody being healthy, a rotation of Wagner, Kuhlman. Where does DeBrusque fit?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Does Corrali get shifted back there? I don't know right now. I don't have those answers right now. Even Bruce said after Monday, the third line, he feels like it's gaining traction, but let's see. Let's wait. It's still early. Can Corrali be your 3C in a long playoff run? I don't know. I'm not sure. So
yeah, if they win a cup, then you can compare because it's kind of more apples to apples after they both went that way. And I think that the trade deadline acquisitions here compared to then are probably the two biggest ones they've had in 10 years, to be quite honest with you. I know Coyle and Johansson, helped out a lot in 19. But I just think both of those changed the chemistry of the team, if that makes sense, because it just seems like they're gelling more. But again, let's talk in July, maybe. We'll do a follow-up in July. All right, so we're going to do we get some non-hockey questions, and then I know you got to run. So
I owe you a couple minutes. I was late, so I'm sorry.
I appreciate the Alice in Chains reference last night. That was good. You had Razor on a hook there. You couldn't come up with any more 90s grunge. But
I got a lot of grunge for him in night. He's too young for that, so I can.
I know, right? I know. No, it was a great. Alice in Chains, one of my favorite bands. So, who's your all-time favorite band?
Pearl Jam. I'm a complete. I mean, I love Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog. I know that was a compilation or supergroup, whatever you want to call it.
Phenomenal, right?
And I'm trying to think of other bands that I just. Oh God! I mean, there's
STP.
What's that?
Stone Temple Pilots. Did you like them?
I like STP. I like them a lot. Audio Slave.
Supergroup again, Rage. Yeah.
I was in college when Guns N' Roses was Guns N' Roses. Like that was so. GNR was unique then in 86, 80. And when I say there's, I have the image of a different Axl Rose right now, so it's kind of
quite different.
Yeah, but to me, Pearl Jam just resonates, and I know that they're a big band now, and they have been for forever. But I saw them a couple of times in the 90s, and that was just phenomenal. And seen them at Fenway a few times lately.
Yeah, I was at those shows. Yeah, great shows.
Yeah, I mean, and just great. And their music, I don't know what it is. I think we all have moments in your life, at certain ages, impressionable ages and stuff. Definitely. And those were, 10's one of the great albums of debuts of all time. So that's my take. And I'm not one of those people that knows a lot of these bands from the little tiny, not tiny bands, but these smaller bands that are, but if I like me, I'm like wine, if I like it, I'm going to drink it. If I like music, I'm going to listen to it.
No, I hear you. We're only a couple years apart in age, so we probably like the same music, but one of my biggest regrets is I went to UMass Lowell from 91 to 95, and 91 Pearl Jam came and played there. So this was probably their first tour. And of course I didn't go because I kind of knew them, but what a regret I have with that. But I saw a couple of their shows over in Fenway. First time I ever saw them was in 16, 5 years ago. So it just, the energy from the crowd and just, that's why I miss live shows so much right now. I just need that.
So I came in to watch the Bruins in the Cup in 90.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Edmonton. Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
And I came in 88 and 90 because, long story short, a very good friend of mine and teammate of mine at college is from Boston suburbs. And in fact, he runs Copeland Toyota. Todd Copeland was a very excellent hockey player. For
the Oilers, was he with the Oilers?
No, he's with the Devils.
Okay.
Is Devils and anyways, long story short, came in, his family had tickets. And so they were gracious. They knew that I was a Bruins fan. Kobe knew that I was a huge Bruins fan. And we came in after the school year was done, came in. The point of the story is in 90, there was it was like the heavens came together, and it was, oh my God, what was it? Oh God, was it Kiss? The outdoor show. Oh God, I should remember that. The outdoor festival, Kiss FM, or not Kiss. Geez, it was
BCN.
It was the outdoor festival, and it was hard rock. And Pearl Jam was there. They had it one year, and we saw them there. Or they were awesome. I'll tell you when I remember it. My memory sucks again. And it was just they were there one year, and we had it in between hockey and Pearl Jam and Boz Scaggs too. Yeah, and everything. It was one of those super events, where the I'm gonna remember it, and I'll email.
Yeah, email. Yeah, I'd love to hear about it. No, it's
awesome.
We all remember certain shows that will always affect us and where we've been, and it's great nostalgia. I mean, it's nothing better. So I don't know if you're a big Star Wars fan, but today is May the 4th, as I'm wearing my Snow Trooper Imperial Hoth Empire Strikes Back jersey. So do you have a favorite Star Wars character, Billy, or movie, or are you a fan at all?
I'd have to say no. Maybe I might lean more towards Spaceballs, to be honest with you.
What's a strong
like Fat Bastard might be my favorite, or
Mr. Coffee, Mr. Radar. Yep.
Yeah, those. So no, I'm nothing against Star Wars. I like. Who doesn't like Luke and his girlfriend? Sorry.
That was his sister. Leia was his sister. So we don't get all that rough.
Shows you what I know.
That's great.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I've never been a sniper myself. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up any incest. That was great. I'm not suggesting anything.
No, they've sorted all that in the movies, Billy. Don't worry. There was a lot of that. We all thought that too. We're like, what's going on here? Then Han Solo kind of got everything figured out. So that was awesome. So one question about your life. What was your biggest hockey moment as a player yourself, or goal, or whatever? And then we'll end it on that.
Well, I didn't have exactly an illustrious career. I would say
could be high school, whatever. I mean,
I mean, walking onto the ice for your first game at Michigan with the band blaring out there, and I'm going to say 6,000-7,000 people at Yost Ice Arena, and proud moment. I remember. I mean, our first game was at Bowling Green as a freshman, and I was in the lineup first day and loved it. And first game at home was the fall. I'm sorry. Our first game was Bowling Green and then Miami, Ohio. Who was it at home? It might have been it was Bowling Green as well. We did a home and home with them, going out there. First goal in college. Actually, I scored it against the same goalie that was my teammate at where I finished my prep school at. Where I came
no way. That's cool.
Prep school.
That's cool.
We played Boston College, and I scored it on him. Great guy. Sandy's his name, and that was fun. I mean, there have been a lot of when I say great moments, I played with a glorified beer league team that some of my best friends came from a few years after finishing playing, and we traveled around the country,
Really?
barnstorming. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
pretty much kind of like the Federal League, without the Hanson. Oh, some teams had Hanson brothers, like,
I bet, right?
and we went and we won the national championship in 90. I'm going to say it was 95 or so. And
did they have a cup or anything? Did they have a cup? Was it called anything? Or?
No, they did have a trophy. I don't know where it is.
Like a keg, maybe it was a big keg. It's a big
yes.
keg.
Oh, yes. Big keg that was tapped. And, we played teams from Fairbanks and Anchorage.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Cool. And in Minnesota and Wisconsin and all really in New York. Geez. And I mean, we had great times and it was, it was all former D1, D3 minor league players. That was great hockey and great fun. It was, I mean, just from that's how I knew that and I still do. I mean, I was on the ice early this morning, and skating. When you're on for an hour and there's not another problem in the world. Yeah. I said to somebody recently, every once in a while, I realized what hockey has meant to me. I didn't get to play in the NHL. Is what it is, but I love the game. I love coaching the game to kids. Oh, and when I'm on the ice, yeah, I do. And I love coaching. And when I'm on the ice for playing for an hour and a half, there's not another care in the world, not another problem in the world. And so that I recognize that that's what hockey's meant for me. And the fact that I fell into broadcasting, I didn't fall into broadcasting until I was in my late 20s. I'd never done it or anything. And I get to talk about hockey. That's what it was meant for me. Right. I mean, right. I'm in awe of what some of the guys can do on the ice. I really am. I mean, you could take the worst player in the National Hockey League. And I always laugh about this internally when fans talk about, oh my God, that guy's no good. And I just want to say, oh my God, you want to see that? Come see that guy play in a certain level here or there. I'm talking about like the top, go find the best guys playing in a men's league or whatever. You know what I mean? And
oh yeah, for sure.
And that guy would just be amazing. And that's how good they are. So I have a ton of respect for them. But it's always been a thing for me that, I show them respect. Because they deserve it. But the game's hard, man. It's hard at that level.
Well,
it's hard.
I mean, you know your stuff. I mean, I never learned to skate, but I played street hockey in Hockey Town up in Saugus with my buddies, and we played. I tore my ACL, my labrum, and you could still get hurt playing any kind of hockey. But it was just, as you said, it was great to hang out with your buddies, have a drink after the game, have the jerseys. One of the guys we played with passed away, so we always remember the moments we had with him. And my son's starting to play hockey. He had to opt out of his first season because of the COVID. But in the way my whole I really didn't go in any public places where this happened because I'm a cancer survivor, so I kind of try to stay away from that. But my son had tryouts. I'm going to the stadium in Fitchburg to let you try out because I don't want him to miss another year. And he loves the sport so much. And it's just like you said, it's just a great moment seeing your kids skate. It's just, it's a beautiful
It's fantastic. Hey, man, it's look, if you can find a sport, for us it's hockey, right? But if somebody out there can find a sport or an activity that allows them freedom from the world, right, for that hour and a half,
do it.
That's better than going to sit on any shrink's couch, man. It is. It's right. It's and I don't make fun of that because that stuff's important too. But what I'm saying is that is really amazing when you can get out there and understand that you're free for that time. I mean, and I'm not going all Dr. Phil on you here, but I'm just saying from somebody who I recognize that. And it took me a long time to recognize that. I always wanted to be a little better. I always wanted to do a little bit more. Sure. And now I'm just, I'm older now too. I mean, you understand it, but I still love it with a passion. I love talking about it. Yeah. Some of my best moments as a broadcaster, and I know you didn't ask this, but it just comes out. I've done a ton of winter classics. Yeah. I did all the big outdoor games between Michigan and Michigan State. I was always asked to do those for Fox Sports nationally. And those were so cool. I mean, to be a part of that, done multiple Stanley Cups, sitting down and doing a 25-minute interview, which they said, well, you've got 10 minutes with him, with Bobby Orr back in 2011. Was great. I'd met Bobby. I'd gotten to know him a little bit because of Jigs McDonald, who's they're good buddies from Florida and broadcasting. But I was at the NHL Network covering the Bruins 11 run in the Eastern Final and then the Stanley Cup. And Bobby was there in the Eastern Final. And he said, yeah, for sure, no problem. And then, we sat down, and one of Bobby's greatest qualities is that he makes you think you're the only person in the world at that moment when he's talking with you. So we went 25 minutes. And that was the only time I've ever come out of an interview. Like, I had to check myself, seriously, like I was like a puppy, and thank God I didn't piddle on the floor, it was, I just had to, it was awesome. It was like, because it was real. And so that was a great moment in broadcasting. My first game doing the Islanders, my first few games when I was the analyst for the Islanders, I did it with Jigs McDonald. Here you got this unbelievable all-time great broadcaster, and he was filling in for Howie Rose, who was another phenomenal partner that I've had. And so to do those games and stuff was just great moments. Well, and now look, signing with the NESN and doing Bruins games, because I grew up a legit Bruins fan. Where'd
you grow up again?
Chicago.
And you grew up a Bruins fan in Chicago. Okay.
I did. Bruins were number one. Hawks were number two. I grew up a Bruins fan because my mother grew up in Winthrop, Mass.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right.
And left when she was, I'm going to say 23 or 24, after she got married to my dad, who was living in Boston and Hartford, both for work, but then moved back to Chicago, where he was from, for work, for business. And I grew up talking to my mom's mom every week. Before cell phones. You didn't talk every day because it was expensive. So we talked every Sunday when the phone rates were the cheapest. And my dad's like, yeah, you can call your mom, and we talked once a week. And so I'd get on the phone with my grandmother, who was a huge sports fan, huge Bruins, Celtics, and Red Sox fan. Those three. She liked the Pats, but she loved the other team. Right. And so I grew up talking hockey with her and then whatever sport was in season. But hockey was my favorite. It just was. The Bruins became my favorite because of her. And I always liked the Blackhawks, but I loved the Bruins. So it was just coincidence, good coincidence, great coincidence, that the opportunity to take Bruins position, broadcast position, full-time, or I shouldn't say full, but after the 11 season opened up. And that's when I connected with a gentleman at NESN who knew me from my NHL Network days, where I still work now too. But we had history, and that's how the whole thing came to be.
Well, that's good, because I was gonna actually ask you that too. But quickly, just about, because I know you're from Chicago. I've been to Chicago about 3 or 4 times. Probably one of my favorite cities, because I think it's a close sister city to Boston. I think the same mentality, blue collar. I went to a game in Chicago, not the United Center, sorry, back in 2009, and the fans were so nice to you, even regardless if you were wearing the black and gold jersey. And it was just, going on Rush Street, right, hanging out the bars on there. It was just Tavern on the Rush was one of the places we hung out at. It's just Chicago, like if the Bruins.
That's called that. Right away, that where you were, it's called the Viagra Triangle.
What?
That's that where you were on Rush and. Tavern on Rush and Gibson's, and that's called the Viagra Triangle.
Oh, because college kids.
That's usually at that it's the 50, 60 somethings and
the Hookupville, right?
And they're all there just working it. That's what the nickname of it is. So,
oh my God, the Viagra Triangle. So, all right, you got 2 more minutes or no? You let me know, because I know you.
Yeah, I got 2 minutes. I got 2. It is a great city, by the way. If you grew up there and you wore your Bruins or your Blues or your Red Wing sweater, and you went to a Bruins Hawks game at the old Chicago Stadium,
right?
If you were a kid, you could maybe get away with it. If you were an adult, it's over your head. You're done, man.
Really? Well, that must be the old days. That was
the old days. Yeah, no, the old days, and half the time you didn't know if you didn't park your car in their lots, and they didn't have that many lots. if you parked it in one of the other lots adjacent there, you're like, I hope my car's here when I leave. It
Oh,
was tough.
yeah. South side stuff. Yep. I heard
Yeah.
about South side. They told us.
No, it's the west side. It's the west side.
It's not
That's
South side?
No, the south side, that's bad Leroy Brown. That's the stuff you got in your head. The south side is where Comiskey Field, well, now it's called something else.
Okay.
The west side is Chicago.
Because we asked where to go to get drinks at the United Center. People would tell us you don't want to go anywhere around the United Center at all.
No, you don't go west. If you go west 2 blocks, there's a good chance that if a policeman sees you, they're going to bring you back. They're going to say, get out of here, because the west side is a tough, it's still unfortunately, economically it's a tough area. And you want to stay east of that. You want to head east. You want to head back towards the lake and River North and to where you were in Rush Street and Division. And the west side is great, but not that west. No, the River West is awesome.
The Viagra Triangle.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite Bruins player, and then we'll wrap it up. Who's your guy then? Made you love
Peter McNabb.
Peter McNabb, good, number 8. Yeah.
Peter McNabb.
I got Peter McNabb. I think I met him back in the day and met Ricky Middleton at a ground round, and I have Brad Parks stick behind me. But Billy, I can't thank you enough. I had great expectations for this, but this is even beyond that. You are a hilarious dude. You're super knowledgeable. I'm very, again, blessed that you came on. I really appreciate it. I know the fans are going to have a great time listening to this. So please just plug your podcast, everything else. What's going on in Billy Jaffe world?
Just keeping busy. Razor and I started up Morning Brew, BRU, with Jaffe and Razor. It's everywhere. You can get your podcast, and on YouTube we have a channel. We're trying to figure this thing out. I came up with the idea a few months ago. It's not like a podcast is a real unique idea, right?
Right.
But the philosophy for it was to do a after every game show for Bruins fans, because in the New England area, you can get after a Red Sox game and after a Pats game, especially, they'll talk about the third down play in the third quarter over the right guard, which should have been over the left guard, that the defensive back pulled in, and then this guy stepped up and the safety was open, and it was an 8-yard hook instead of 12, meaning the intricacies of a daily, right, after the game. And I felt in particular that there was a need, a desire for that for Bruins fans. And so hopefully, it's been growing great. Again, we're trying to figure it out, like what's the best way to present it all the time. We're keep tweaking things here and there. We picked up a few sponsors, and
I heard congratulations.
Yeah. And it's things cost money, right? They cost money to produce and to get out there, and our mugs that we're trying to figure out.
I know, Billy. I have to see where your website is.
We don't have that yet. We don't have that yet, but we're working it. And one of our sponsors is a coffee roaster, Joe, who's actually right now willing to send out our mugs with their orders. So it's been great. So Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, it's really going well. We've got the playoffs coming up. I'll be with NESN through the first round of the playoffs, and then after that, it's on and off with NESN and the NHL Network. So I fulfill my obligations with them too, and hopefully it's a long run for all of us, an enjoyable one, and I appreciate you having me on here.
Awesome. And then one quick housekeeping note, Kim Silveris has the question of the day asking about the similarities between the 11 team and today's team, so I appreciate it. So Billy, thanks so much. Be safe, and again, keep doing the great stuff you're doing with the Bruins in NESN.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Joe.